Welcome to Wednesday, March 29th, 2023. Your Day Weather Podcast being brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com. Also being brought to you by WYDOT. Remember, when there's ice and snow, take it slow. Well, a nice shot from Gary here in Cheyenne. A very spring-like picture right there. A little bit of wet snow, sun's coming up, the snow's gone by afternoon. That's kind of the time of year we're in right now. Kind of decent weather across many areas of the western United States and northern plains again today, but we've got another west coast storm system tracking to come our way. So this front will be hitting the west coast later today and into tonight. Stormy weather for the Pacific Northwest and for California and into the Great Basin states. Then this front rolls through Thursday into Friday, bringing rain, snow, wind, colder weather to the region. As it comes through the Rockies, like these systems have done lately, it comes through as what we call an open wave, moves through very quickly. By the time it goes through, this is going to bring more significant weather to the mountains and areas west of the divide. Along the front range, again, a little bit of a downsloping effect, but the storm is going to kind of reform over parts of Nebraska and South Dakota and becomes a snowmaker. So for South Dakota, southern North Dakota, parts of far northern Nebraska, you're going to have some snow with this system. And then we're going to have on Friday a severe weather outbreak in the middle of the United States. And we'll show you that. Windy weather comes this weekend as the jet stream straightens out. Now we're going to get a bit of a Chinooking effect along and east of the divide, but I'm afraid it's going to be hard to enjoy somewhat of a warmer weather pattern this weekend because of the wind. Then, folks, April is looking like it's going to get off to a rip, snort, and start. We are going to see a couple of systems. One that could bring areas of snow, rain, and unsettled weather into the interior west as we get into the Monday, Tuesday time frame. We see potentially another slow-moving low-pressure system that could be impacting us by the weekend after this one. Want to give a heads up to livestock interests. Know that a lot of calving operations are ongoing in the region. And getting into the first, let's say, 10 to 14 days of April, we may have two large weather systems in the western central areas of the United States that could be a concern. And we'll kind of give you a little bit of a preview of what we're watching. And as we go through the next few days, we'll try to get some better ideas of what's going on. Some just beautiful shots coming in. Thank you for sending this in. Beautiful shot there west of Laramie and in Torrington. Boy, this is the best part of the world for sunrises and sunsets, and folks capturing some great images there. Satellite imagery this morning. Boy, can you find the low? Pretty easy there to see that low there off the coast of Northern California spinning around with a lot of mid and high level clouds coming out ahead of it. So we will have a lot of cloudiness, high level cloudiness, moving in ahead of the system, while the rain, the snow, and the stormy weather and the windy conditions will be battering into areas along the west coast. And you can see on the 500 millibar chart, we've got a little brief area of high pressure, southwest winds, so temperatures will be warmer today. But here it comes at west coast low. Comes in as an open wave. This is by late tomorrow afternoon and evening, so it is going to be moving in very quickly. Then look what happens between here and there. See how all of a sudden the green shows up? The low intensifies, but it intensifies more out into the plains. And this is something in springtime. When these systems look like bowling balls, tight, compact, intense areas of low pressure, they cause a lot of bad weather. This will end up causing a small but intense area of heavy snow right here as it comes through. Then as warm air out of the Gulf and moist air out of the Gulf is pulled ahead of it, then as the cold air rushes in behind it, you can imagine the collision that's going to happen. So this is a huge red flag. These bowling balls, I call them, these tight, compact lows. This is going to be a problem. Severe weather in the Midwest, a small winter storm up in South Dakota and up in parts of the northern plains. So folks need to watch that there. Strong westerly flow comes in behind the low, and that's going to be causing the wind this weekend. Now, this is through Saturday morning. So you can see the moisture coming into the west coast, hitting the mountains, up into Montana, North Dakota, and then here you go. This is where we could end up with a kind of a mini snowstorm in this region here. Some snows out in eastern areas of Montana, far northern Wyoming, some parts of central and areas of west of the divide getting snow again. East of the divide, there is going to be a little bit of snow and rain shower activity, but not a lot. As we go through Saturday morning, this is what it looks like with snowfall. So you can see that South Dakota snow event there, and then you can see more snow hitting the high country. This is where the severe weather outbreak is going to be on Friday into Saturday. So this is going to be a bad situation. Look at this large area here of ENH. ENH means an enhanced threat. So hail, tornadoes, all of those things. Classic spring. You're going to have lightning and thunder and severe weather here, and you're going to have heavy snow on the northwest side of this system here. If anybody's traveling into this part of the country Thursday night through Friday into early Saturday, you're going to run into some problems. Now, here we go into the weekend. The good news is the flow straightens out west to east. This is a Chinooking situation. So what will happen is this will help warm up temperatures a little bit along and east of the divide. But notice up here, we still have areas of low pressure out here in the eastern Pacific. So what we're doing is setting the stage for a bit of a transition. When you see the jet stream straighten out like this, it usually means there's a little bit of a readjustment going on. Now, this readjustment is not going to put us into a period of warm spring-like weather, because what will happen is first we get warmer and we get windy. So we are going to get very windy Thursday of this week into Friday down here in New Mexico and southern Colorado into the panhandles. So as we get into tomorrow and Friday, very windy down there. But over the weekend, as you get into Wyoming, parts of the Great Basin, those strong jet stream winds just line up and make for some very windy conditions here. So the wind machine cranks up over the weekend. But here's the benefit. Here's your Chinook. So Chinook winds will warm up areas east of the divide. This is for Saturday afternoon. Sunday afternoon will be looking somewhat similar. But notice still how cold it is west of the divide. This is the cold air left behind the snowstorm that's going to be hitting up there. Then as we get into early next week, we're going to see a broad trough of low pressure come in. But instead of this thing whipping through quickly, it's going to slow down a little bit. What's going to be happening is we get deeper into spring, the jet stream winds are going to slowly loosen up a little bit, become slower. That means the storm systems are going to become a little bit slower, which starts to make these storm systems coming off of western areas of California to the west coast slow down and maybe become a bit more impactful. We could see a fair amount of Pacific moisture and instability forming ahead of this low as early as late Sunday night and into Monday and Tuesday. And this could end up being a snow and rain maker into the interior west, as the system will not be moving through as quickly. So this is Monday afternoon. This is Tuesday morning. See how it's moving, but it's coming in a little bit more of a southerly track and swinging on through. So early next week, we're going to have some weather. Travelers and stock growers in the west and the high plains, we need to be ready for that. And then again, there'll be another outbreak of severe weather ahead of this system. Then by next weekend, this next low comes in, and notice there's a little separation now between the really strong jet streams that have been around, and this system is a little cut off from the main jet stream flow. If this happens, then this low will be much slower moving, and we'll have more time to get organized and draw moisture up out of the Gulf and southern areas. So the stage is set for April to start off with two large systems, one early next week and maybe one next weekend. Livestock interest, you'll need to keep an eye on the weather once we get into April, as we've got a lot of weather that'll be happening, so stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good Wednesday.